All right. Welcome to another episode of the Geaux Rouge Show. I think this is episode 37 or 38, Brian.
38 by my count.
Oh, I love it. 38. You're listening to Franz Borghardt, the host of the Geaux Rouge Show. We got Brian Haldane as producer as well as secondary act. If you're watching on Facebook Live, welcome. If you're listening on Talk 107.3, welcome as well. Facebook Live fans are being treated right now to me wearing what can only be described as a Candyman jacket, blazer that I had court this morning, and I forgot I had court. And so I'm wearing a Candyman blazer right now. It's red and white stripes, as well as a wonderful crawfish bow tie by Travis Robertson's that I got today. So our lineup today is we got some great guests. We got Loren Shanklin from the the Smith Shanklin Sosa law firm. She's going to be talking about a Baton Rouge Bar Association event called the Arch Judicata. We've got Lindsay Bloom from the Public Defender's Office, and we got the Rocket Right Girls coming in for the second half of the show to talk about their new television program on Pelican Broadcasting, and just to kind of talk to us in general about being a woman in talk radio and in television. So before we jump in, though, let's thank our sponsors. These are the folks that make the Geaux Rouge Show happen. Sullivan's Steakhouse, your neighborhood steak restaurant. They're open for business. You can sit, eat, socially distance. Louisiana Tech Park, the Smith Shanklin Sosa Law Firm, your go-to personal injury law firm. Breck Parks, and last but not least, the Borghardt Law Firm. Lastly, if you have information you want to get about the Geaux Rouge Show, go to www.geauxrouge.com. That's www.geauxrouge.com. And if you want to send us show topics, email us at info@geauxrouge.com. Without further ado, our first guest is Loren. She's a lawyer. She's an artist. Loren, how's it going? Loren, how's it going? Hey, can you hear me? Loren Shanklin. It's blinking red. Hold on. All right. So while we fix this, issue, so the Baton Rouge Bar Association has an event every year called the Ars Judicata. It's a art showcase. Let's try this again. Hey, Loren, what's going on?
Hey, Franz, how are you?
Awesome. We were just talking about.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So that's always the first good
Great.
step. So we were just talking. I was just talking about your wonderful go-to personal injury law firm, but now it's time to talk about Ars Judicata. So tell the folks out there listening, what is that event?
So the Baton Rouge Bar Association every year mixes things up a little bit and does a fundraiser for the Baton Rouge Bar Foundation. And one of the fundraisers and one of my favorite events is Arts Judicata. It usually is held at the Arts Council building downtown, and but this year, because of everything going on, it has gone virtual. So it's very exciting. They already have the auction items up on the website.
Yes, they do.
And I can drop a link after I get off the phone here. But they have posted everything online, and starting August 24th through the 28th, you can go and bid on some great artwork done by local lawyers in Baton Rouge. So this is a great event.
This event showcases the extracurricular talents of our local bar community. Paintings, photographs, in person it was sometimes music. But you think about it, I mean, in fact, I think we had a author of a book one year selling and signing. So this is the other side of our bar association that the community may not know. You know, some of our lawyers have side talents. And one of the reasons you're on the show today, Loren, is you're actually an artist, right?
I dabble, but yes, I do love to express myself in painting, and so I dabble in. I've done it for years, and I just love doing it. It gives me a way to, take my mind off things. It's a great way to, and I don't sell any of my artwork, but I do donate it a lot to different fundraisers around town, and the Baton Rouge Bar Foundation is what they are raising money for, and there are so many great programs at the Baton Rouge Bar Foundation, the youth education programs like Teen Court and Mock Trial, and great community services that they do over there, and it's a great charitable event.
So the Bar Association raises money through its foundation to give educational programs for teenagers. Loren referenced Teen Court. I've been a judge for Teen Court before. That was a very interesting.
Isn't it amazing?
That may be as close as I get to being a judge. But also, there's some indigent representation programs, not necessarily criminal law, but other areas of pro bono indigent representation that the Bar Association helps folks out with. We have a very active bar in Baton Rouge, and so
very active.
So this is one of the many events. I have actually gone to the website that Loren's going to post in the Facebook live stream, and I will send a link out on the Geaux Rouge page. I've actually looked at some of the art pieces, and I got to tell you, there's some good stuff. You can bid on it, or if you just want to buy it outright, it's available for purchase if you hit the threshold. Loren's got a great jazz piece on there. I can't really even describe it. I mean, it's got like a saxophone in there. What else? Is that your only piece this year, or do you have more than one?
I have. So I usually do a lot of abstract muted colors, but I tried a jazz piece. I have a jazz piece in there. I have a You Are My Sunshine, which I actually made for my daughter. It has some gold leafing. It's pretty. And I got a wild hair, and I did a RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
I saw that one. For those who don't know, she's a bad. I can't say it on the radio. She's a bad A.
She's awesome.
Yes, awesome. That's what A stands for.
Yes.
She is
a Supreme Court justice.
Correct.
She is a trailblazer for women, and I try to make it very feminine, and I think it is pretty, and it'd be great in somebody's office. So I hope that some female lawyer or whoever just loves Ruth Bader Ginsburg, makes her a very happy home.
So last year I missed out. Last year, Loren had a piece that I really, really wanted to get. It was a white painting. It was very abstract. And my podcast partner, Richard Sprinkle, beat me to it. And I've been trying, Loren, full confession, I've been trying to buy it from him for the better part of a year.
I can make you one, Franz.
So I'll make you a deal. Make me one, and I will. What I will do is I will, in exchange, pay you for the canvas, and then make a donation to the Baton Rouge Bar Foundation to compensate you. Unless you just want money. If Loren says, "Hey, I just want to get money," I'll pay her too.
No, I would love if you made a donation to the Baton Rouge Bar Foundation. That'd be awesome.
So one of the things, in our remaining time, one of the things I'm really happy about this event is, just like you guys are setting a high bar for civil representation in Louisiana, I want lawyers that do things like this. I want lawyers that give back to the community. And many of us do that, right? Many of us give back in different ways, but give back to the community, have a cool event where we can showcase the talents outside of the courtroom of our bar members. I just like this. And I like the fact that you and your firm are involved with it. Just one of the many things that you guys do to give back. So, once again, if they want to get information, they can go to the Baton Rouge Bar Association website, right? I think that's brba.org. You there? I think we lost Loren. I hope we didn't hang up.
Sorry, my face keeps hitting you.
Oh, it's okay.
Yes, I'll put a link up below too, because the actual auction site is kind of long.
Yeah, but you can actually. For those who don't know, you can actually go and make bids now, or you can just outright buy. We've been talking about the Ars Judicata event. Loren Shanklin from the Smith Shanklin Sosa Law Firm. By the way, Loren, if folks need to get more information about you and your wonderful firm, where would they go?
You can go to our website at www.go2law.com, and that's GEAUX. number 2 in law.com.
I love that website. Just makes sense to me. Loren Shanklin, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you guys for supporting the Geaux Rouge show. We wouldn't be able to have a show without your support. So thank you so much, and have a great day.
You too. Keep doing what you're doing, Franz.
Thank you. All right. Always good talking to Loren Shanklin, and she really is a very talented lawyer and as well as artist. So keeping the first segment about lawyers giving back, doing great things. Our second guest is Lindsay Blouin, the deputy director of the East Baton Rouge Parish Public Defender's Office. Lindsay, what's going on?
Hey, good morning, Franz. How are you?
So, as a matter of introduction, Lindsay is one of the smartest, caring lawyers I know. I was fortunate enough to have her as a law clerk in the Public Defender's Office when I was there for a very short time. We have worked some cases together. We have been on cases together. Lindsay is a very, very smart, brilliant lawyer, but she also helps run the East Baton Rouge Public Defender's Office. So, Lindsay, I wanted to have you on here, one, because a lot of people don't know anything about the East Baton Rouge Parish Public Defender's Office, and you guys are doing more than just courtroom work, right?
Certainly.
So talk to me about what's been going on, whether before or during COVID.
So COVID has actually really changed a lot in Baton Rouge, but more specifically in our criminal justice system. You know, as a public defender, we are more than just that lawyer that is in the courtroom.
Right.
We provide services to clients who are too poor to access them elsewhere. So our job is just as much litigation as it is helping poor people in Baton Rouge find employment, housing, treatment. And one of the things that COVID really shone a light on was how many people we had incarcerated at the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison who were simply in need of services.
Right.
And so our office had started a pretrial release and social services team that during COVID, we had been operating for about a year with that team, but during COVID, that team, headed up by our team leader, Lacey Dozat, really went in and saved lives. Over 1,000 people were released from the prison over the course of those 2 months when COVID first reached Baton Rouge. And I am very happy to report that we were able to find mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, housing, employment for the individuals we worked with to secure release. And so that was largely the result of our passionate public defenders, our pretrial release and social services team, but also the fact that it was a collaborative effort between the judges, the district attorney's office, the jail, and the public defender's office. So what we really saw out of COVID was when every stakeholder comes to the table and works collaboratively to think outside the box about how to address an issue, we can really accomplish pretty amazing outcomes, even during what was a truly critical and terrible time for this city.
So I think that bears a little fleshing out, because what I think is interesting is, one, all the stakeholders were coming to the table, the DA's office, you guys, and basically having a genuine conversation, and I'm oversimplifying it, but it bears repeating. Hey, we have these folks in jail. Do we need to keep them in jail? Can we resolve their case? Can we get them some services? What can we do? And by the way, we as citizens shouldn't want an East Baton Rouge Parish prison that's chock full of inmates. Even though that's the task, right? That's the job of the prison. We should only want the folks that need to be in prison to be in prison. And that's a taxpayer mindset coming there. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm a former public defender, but I'm also a former prosecutor, Lindsay. So I just don't want, there's no reason to have some people in prison that we can get services for, that, by the way, if we get them services, maybe we won't have to ever see them in the justice system again.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Right.
That's why we created that team.
So one of the things I used to tell clients when I was a public defender is I would tell them, and I still tell them in private practice, I hope I don't ever have to see you again. I hope after we're done, that's it. You know, if I see you on the street, I'll wave at you, but I don't want to encounter you again in this form, in this criminal justice system. So I'm excited. And look, kudos to you guys. Kudos to the East Baton Rouge Parish District Attorney's Office. Kudos to the court officials and judges that worked with you guys to kind of figure out a way of solving that issue. Because look, the other side of this is, and this is no disrespect to EBR, Parish Prison, being a prisoner right now is not exactly conducive to a good COVID-19 risk assessment management kind of scenario. So man, that's great. What else are you guys up to?
Well, so I will say one of the things that COVID has impacted that's going to make it very difficult for our office this year is how we're funded.
Right.
The public defender system in Louisiana is largely funded through conviction and user fees.
Right.
And so quite simply, when the court is closed or at reduced function, which it has been for the last 5 months, those fines and fees are not getting paid. And quite frankly, the individuals who were having to pay them, in a lot of instances, struggle to afford those fines and fees to begin with. Now, with the significant unemployment and rising issues like evictions in our city, those fines and fees just aren't going to be able to be paid by the poor people who previously had to. And so, to put it plainly, our public defender's office and other public defender offices in Louisiana are facing a crisis right now. We will not have enough money in our bank account to survive this fiscal year if something is not done, because we already are seeing a 50% decline in our usual local revenues from those conviction and user fees, and we anticipate that's going to continue to grow. So we are concerned.
So one of the things citizens should know is what it looks like if a public defender system in a community collapses. What that means is people that you may not want to get out of jail because they have rights are not going to be made to just sit in jail while we figure out the financing. They're going to be able to file motions that either push for them to be released pending funding, or alternatively, bar association members are going to be politely asked to service these defendants, and you're going to have people that really aren't, I don't want to say they're not qualified, it's just not their area of law, but what that systemically is going to do is they're going to start charging more money to represent private clients to offset the work they have to do. And I think people just don't realize, look, funding all this on traffic tickets was a great idea. Never. Right? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. And I hope you guys don't get to the point of collapse, but part of me, and I'm just going to say it, part of me wants the world to see what happens when you don't sufficiently and adequately support and fund a public defender's office. I mean, I don't want, by the way, I don't want chaos.
I believe that a healthy Baton Rouge requires a healthy public defender's office. And so I will say, we are looking to change how we're funded, because you're absolutely right. You can't plan for growth. You can't plan to keep your office afloat when it's reliant on that incredibly unstable local funding model. So we have asked for increased assistance from our city parish government.
Right.
We are also asking for increased assistance from our state legislature, because if you as a public defender's office can know how much money you're going to receive from year to year, like any other city agency, then we can plan for health. And the healthier we are, the healthier Baton Rouge is. Because like we talked about at the beginning of this, we aren't just in the courtroom, we're in the community doing what we can to make everyone safer.
So I want to touch on something. We got about 3 minutes left, Lindsay. I want to touch on something. It is a common misconception that having a quote-unquote public defender is like scraping the bottom of the barrel of the legal system. And as you know, and I know Brian Haldane knows this, I have a pretty heightened sense of self-worth, right? Franz Borghardt thinks he's a pretty good criminal defense attorney. Dare I say one of the best criminal defense attorneys in the city and state. I am a product of the East Baton Rouge Parish Public Defender's Office. I cut my teeth there. I started there. I got great experience. I tried cases there. And I want to say some of my favorite and best criminal defense attorneys I know are public defenders. They do criminal law every single day. Now, where the rubber meets the road is they also have massive caseloads. We've already talked about their insufficient funding. So it's not a matter that they're not competent or unable to represent folks. They are exceptional attorneys. Lindsay, you're one of them. You're one of my you're most talented public defenders I know. I mean, you're no Franz Borghardt, but you're pretty talented. So I don't know that Franz Borghardt is Franz Borghardt. My point is, it's a common misconception, right? That man, I don't want a public defender. I want a real attorney. Well, man, you may be missing the boat in your assumptions about the public defender's office. Lindsay, in our remaining time, If people want to get more information about getting involved in your office, how would they do that?
Absolutely. So we have a website, the www.ebrpublicdefender.org. And also, if people are more interested in learning about how public defenders in Louisiana operate, how we're funded, there's also a website called forthesixth.com.
Okay.
Because the Sixth Amendment says you get a fair trial, and that starts with having a lawyer there to represent you.
Those pesky constitutional amendments.
So forthesixth.com, if you are looking for more information about how public defenders in Louisiana are funded and how we can do this better, that's where you should go.
Awesome. And look, there's different ways you can support the public defender's office. It may be going into your closet and saying, hey, I got these suits or these dresses I don't wear anymore that are business, and I can give them to the public defender's office so that these individuals can be judged based on the facts, not how they look, in a trial. And that's one way you can give back. Obviously, funding is a great way to give back. But just being engaged and involved. Lindsay, thank you so much for being on the show. We're definitely going to have you on. And I also told Brian Haldane that he would be a fool not to have you on his show. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks. Anytime, guys.
All right. So before we go to our first break, you've been listening to the Geaux Rouge Show. For more information on the Geaux Rouge Show, go to www.geauxrouge.com, GeauxRouge.com. And if you have a show topic or an individual you would like us to showcase on the show, please, please, please email us at info@GeauxRouge.com. You've been listening to Franz Borghardt, our master control, our producer, our talent. The real talent here is Brian Haldane. Stick around. We'll be right back with our second segment. All right, Facebook Live. We have not had an in-studio guest in a while, but we've got Kay and Betsy coming in. So let's give me a second. I'm going to shuffle around a little bit. I don't need these. Y'all come in. We're going to situate you guys so that you're in the camera. How are you?
I'm doing great.
So you got to be on camera. You don't want me on camera. You guys need to be on camera. Oh, I've got the kitty chair. That's even better. I need to talk to you when you're done about getting the lieutenant governor on next week.
Okay.
I need just long story made short, I need a headshot. I need any kind of logo you want. I need you to decide if you want him in person or on the phone. That's up to him. Okay. Well, it's okay with me. I can't speak for Brian, but I will tell you I am chock full of antibodies. So I'm about the safest person. I had the Cove, so I'm about one of the safest persons you can hang out with. And I just ate like 7 or 8.
Share that spoon around.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
How
are y'all doing? I'm so glad to see people in here. I've missed the studio so much.
Are you okay with all this? With this setup?
Do we look?
All that?
If you slide over just a hair, you'll be on camera.
I would love to be on camera. I love the camera.
There you go.
Camera loves
well, barely on camera. But,
especially in that
Case
candy
laugh.
cane suit.
I'm getting Kay's laugh. I mean, I'm not scared.
Does it help if we scooch together, or they need to scooch more this way?
Betsy, you actually can scoot to your left a little.
Okay.
And you will be in frame.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna.
there you go.
There we are. Now it's like I'm a host of a show. So yeah, it's good to have you guys back in here, y'all. I haven't had any guests in here, so it's nice. We got a whole bunch to talk about. I will tell you one of the things we will talk about, guys, is besides your show, besides the fact that y'all are now on a new medium, is I'm always interested in talking to female hosts of radio shows or digital content about that in the industry, because there's not a lot of you guys hosting radio and talk radio, and that's not a slam on 107.3. It's not a slam on Guaranteed Broadcasting. It's an opportunity, if you ask me, to get some digital content out as well as radio. So that's going to be one of the things we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Well, I think that's one of the things when we started is that talk was looking to pull in a female audience. You know?
And so really my conversation with Gordy, it was because of Gordy.
We're on Facebook Live, by the way.
Yeah. So, hey, we're because of Gordy, he gave me that opportunity to have those conversations with him. And Kay and I had already been talking about doing something together, and it just really worked out perfectly. But it was Gordy who really gave us the opportunity to have the show. And I was already doing a few things on Talk 107.3. Kay was already doing things on television, and it just seemed like a perfect fit. And we can go into all the detail.
You guys have an entire segment. That doesn't happen often.
We appreciate it.
I'm giving you half the show.
Wow.
It's because it's double us. We're doubling up on you.
That's
Is that
right.
it?
That's right. We have some.
And we're chatty. We can be
Yeah.
chatty.
Yeah.
That's right.
We have some good reasons why we think that women need to be more vocal in radio and television, but it's very different when you have your own talk show or your own content that you're creating than if you are a journalist who is reporting on things happening. You go from being an observer to being a participant, and it makes a big difference because women listen differently, we communicate differently, and we control about 92% of the purchasing decisions.
So
And the vote, a large percentage of the
you are
vote.
echoing the last time, and probably the literal last time that Brian let me host for him when he was on vacation. That's not true. There was a time after that. I had Beverly Brooks Thompson on, and I asked her that very question because this is a reoccurring topic for me, and she said the exact same thing you just said, which is we're the decision makers in households.
Yeah.
You know, it would make sense from an advertising, a marketing, PR standpoint that we would be the ones having these kind of shows and whatnot. So, anyways, we're going to start. I'll do the intro, and then I'll introduce you guys,
Great.
and then we'll go from there. So,
Give me a minute.
you take your time, buddy. I'm on your clock.
I'm so glad to see you, Brian.
You too.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
It has been.
I know.
5 months is
I know.
forever.
So I'm,
And interestingly enough, this weekend will be the first weekend that any of the contracted shows are back in.
We
So-
miss being here.
so I don't have my headphones on. So if you just want to point to me when you want me to start
Okay.
squawking, I'll do that. I'm all about squawking,
And Franz ate all my okra I brought him.
dude.
Did you really? I don't know how you do it.
They're delicious.
They're kind of fuzzy.
Now, sometimes I'll use a dip. I'll use like a little ranch or something.
Because that
Or-
hides the fuzz a little bit.
Or a hot sauce.
Ooh, yeah.
Did you just delete the first half?
No, it won't let me save the first half.
Awkward. So yeah, I will go to Sprouts or another grocery store. I'll get a whole bunch of okra, and that sometimes is lunch. It's high fiber. I don't know what the carb content. It's probably got some carbs in it, but
Probably very low.
But it's very low.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, it is high fiber, but I don't like it slimy. So that's the thing is eating it in a gumbo.
That's because I like it fried, so it's
Right.
not slimy.
Fried is, about as unhealthy as you can
Yeah,
eat it.
but I'm going to tell you, the hospital makes some of the best, like okra and tomatoes.
Yeah, I love
It is
sauté.
slimy, though.
I love it. I love it in my gumbo.
I miss tomatoes. So tomatoes are no on the diet, and like
no, on the
What
keto
diet are
diet?
you on?
keto, low carb. So I can eat it. I just can't. Like I used to take a tomato, cut it in half, put a little salt and pepper on it, put a little olive oil and some cheese, and I'd call it a day. And eat it raw.
It's good in the broiler too.
Yeah.
Why is
It's
that
high
non
sugar. It's high sugar.
Oh, wow, I didn't even
So
think about
red
that.
sauces. Now,
Well, now I knew red sauce and stuff, but I didn't know why
since we have
a
this,
raw tomato.
since we're talking,
Because it's so low calorie.
since we're doing dietary, let's Google tomato
Yes.
carb. It's one of those vegetables that you're not supposed to eat a lot of. And red
Yeah,
sauce.
and one other thing is that it is full of leptins, so
So-
they frequently
So
don't
5
recommend you do that.
carbs. So if
Or
you
a
ate it,
tomato,
yeah, if you ate it as a meal, it would
Yeah.
be fine. But
yeah.
I would eat tomatoes like I would broil it or I would eat it raw, and it was just like I can visualize
There's
the
nothing
taste.
better than tomatoes with spicy mustard on them. Oh, God.
I really like, not that it's super healthy,
Wow.
but where you put like a little mayonnaise and Parmesan cheese on top of a scored tomato and broil it. It is so good.
I'm surprised. Okra
7 carbs?
has 7 carbs. There's only 29 calories,
So what you got to look for is the carb.
and that's 8 pods.
So-
I didn't give you more than that.
So look at the carb fiber
Oh, yes,
content
because you
subtract. So I would venture to
Okay.
get,
They don't have that listed on here, but there's a bunch of fiber in there.
yeah, I would say it's probably 3 to 4.
I would guess so too.
And by the way, that was breakfast for me.
Mm-hmm.
So ready when you are, sir. Just all you got to do is do this, Franz. All right, welcome back to the second half of the Geaux Rouge show. You're listening to host Franz Borghardt, Master Controls Brian Haldane. For more information about the Geaux Rouge show, check us out on www.geauxrouge.com. Did you know, Brian, that we have a YouTube channel?
I did know that.
So you can watch our episodes on the Geaux Rouge YouTube channel. You can go to the Talk 107.3 website and watch episodes or listen to episodes on demand. We're all over the place. We're global. So before we jump into our very special in-studio guests of Rocket Right Radio, is it still Rocket Right Radio, or is it just Rocket Right now?
You know, we're trying to change that to Rocket Right Show.
I like it. I like it.
But it's still on radio.
It's still on radio, but we're trying to broaden the word. And, Rocket Right Radio just rolls off the tongue. So.
I got you.
And we've said it for 5 years.
Yes. So it's really hard to switch over to
habits are good habits and bad habits are hard to break. So before we jump into the girls, let's talk about how we are able to produce the Geaux Rouge show. This fancy gelato ice cream, whatever you want to call it, scoop of Geaux Rouge is brought to you by the following show sponsors. We have Sullivan Steakhouse, your neighborhood steak restaurant. You can go in there. I went in there the other night, had a delicious roast beef sandwich with some anjou as well as some veggies. They are open. You can have some cocktails if that's your brand of vodka. We also have Louisiana Tech Park, the Smith Shanklin Sosa Law Firm, your go-to personal injury law firm, Breck Parks, and of course the Borghardt Law Firm, one of the best criminal defense attorney firms, one of the best, not the best, one of the best criminal defense firms, and humble too. Did we mention humble?
What we hear.
Yeah, one of the best and humble criminal defense firms on the planet Earth. So, with that being said, I have Kay and Betsy from Rocket Right Show in the studio for this half of the Geaux Rouge show because we need to catch up on some stuff. One, you guys have a brand new, spanking new television show we need to talk about. But two, I want to talk about Rocket Right, what Rocket Right does for the community, as well as one of the things that I invited you for, and we've already talked about it a little bit on Facebook Live, is women in media, women in talk radio, women on television. Why does it seem like there's not more of you guys? You guys are killing it, right? So there's certainly.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you certainly can do it. So let's start with, what is the Rocket Right show for those who have been living under a rock?
All right, Bess, I'm going to let you take this one. And just so that folks know, I mean, we just celebrated over 5 years of doing the show on Talk 107.3 FM before our expansion into TV, and so we were very excited about that. And when I was practicing medicine, that was kind of my day off project, and it was great because it felt that we had studio time, on my day off. And I was always surprised at the patients that would come in and say, I listen to you. Well, a lot of times, when you have a regular show, they'll say, I listen to you every day. And you'll go, no, you don't really listen every day. I'm only on once a week. But,
time out.
That's still great.
Hold on. What's it like to have people say, I listen to your show? Because I don't know that I experience. I'm joking.
Oh, you do,
sure
too. I
do.
just told you I listened to your show, and I knew you liked raw okra.
She did bring me raw
Otherwise, if
okra.
I wasn't listening, I would not
Garden
know
fresh
that
raw
you
okra.
love that.
I ate it.
Yeah.
You would not
Morning.
have been able to watch me eat that raw.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you've been on Talk 107.3. You were kicking butt on that for 5 years.
Yeah.
And I would love, if we have time, I'd love to talk about what it means to have a weekly show, because I don't think people realize
It's
the commitment.
Well, I have to tell you, we were so grateful to Talk 107.3 FM and Guarantee Media, and particularly Gordy Rush, for giving us the opportunity to have the platform to reach women. We thought that women talking to women was a platform that was missing in Baton Rouge, in the capital city, and around Louisiana. And as we started looking into it, there were no women duos of talk shows. There was a morning show in another part of Louisiana, but it was just kind of a morning show. But they weren't talking about important people, places, and things. One of the things that we really wanted to focus on and highlight was the amazing talent of people from Louisiana, from our musicians to our chefs to just the way that we love life here. And so we wanted to be a reflection of the conversation conversations we were having. We also wanted to talk to movers and shakers and policymakers, and we wanted women to be more actively involved in the political process, vote, and speak their mind. And so when we started, we wanted to make sure that everyone, but especially women who are a large majority of the vote, didn't feel that they couldn't speak directly to people who were elected officials, because let's really admit it. I mean,
we're in a safe space. Betsy.
Yeah,
You can say
yeah.
whatever you want.
A third of our money goes to taxes one way or another, whether
Right.
it's local, state, federal, plus everything we spend after what's left. We wanted to talk about pocketbook issues that affected people's finances. Women make the majority of the buying decisions. Women also make, as I mentioned, a large percentage of the voting population. So when women were turning to men saying, well, who do you think I should vote for? That was just a conversation that I heard too many times, and I felt like, why is it that these women can't Google and meet some of these different people that are deciding on how their money's spent? So initially, that was kind of my motivation. But when I met Kay and we felt like we already knew each other, there was also a space where there wasn't a lot of current medical information. And there was really, Kay has been a very well-respected OBGYN for over 25 years. And she has just done a phenomenal job in educating women outside of the clinic space, outside of the hospital, and held a lot of different seminars. So we felt we had something to say in those two things. And then like you know, there are some incredibly generous people who never want attention or the spotlight on them.
I'm
They
an
don't.
attention whore, ladies.
Yeah.
You guys, not attention whore. Brian will tell you, this guy loves him some him. So.
Yeah, loves him some him. That is hilarious. So we wanted to shine a light on those people that did what they did for others without expecting anything in return. And then, of course, the Louisiana musicians. So we just felt like this was a great idea. Gordy Rush championed it for us because women do listen differently than men. Women do express themselves, and we're kind of the sandwich generation. I know you've heard that term. We're taking care of the grandparents, our children, and for many women, their grandchildren. So all of the things that we talked about, we wanted to highlight cool chicks you ought to meet, and people of all ages, and it not just be a conversation of women of a certain age, but we also found out that a lot of men listen to our show. Probably half as many, and they would stop us and say, matter of fact, John Hightower, shortly after our show started, most people know John Hightower. I love him. He's a man about town. He's been on our show. He said, I love your show, and I listen to it every Saturday. And I just was so, like, are you kidding me? I was so amazed. But we have had people stop us in grocery stores. They hear our voice when we thank people for doing something
and
for us.
unfortunately, my voice is recognizable. I would have some of the nurses at the hospital go, I was like listening to talk the other week, and I'm like, is that Dr. Solar? Because, I think I have this kind of hickey twang.
She has this kind of Hope
when I
Arkansas
listen
twang.
to myself back,
So you
and
both
so
have
I'm fairly recognizable.
You both have very beautiful voices.
Thank you.
I will say this. While I am an attention whore, and I love me some me, I will say that I learned early on in developing my law practice that the best way of advertising without advertising was showcasing other people.
Yes.
And that is one of the reasons I have a show, is because as much as it may seem like it's sometimes about me, tongue-in-cheek or whatever, this is not about me. I mean, this is fun for me because I get to have conversations with folks I want to have conversations with. I haven't gotten Shaquille O'Neal on the radio yet, but like if I want to talk to somebody, you invite them on a radio show and I can showcase them, whether it's an artist, a musician, whether it's you two, whether it's any. I mean, I had the deputy director of the public defender's office on earlier. We had somebody from the Bar Association. And what that did for me was, from a brand standpoint, I hope no other lawyers listening to this right now because I feel like I'm about to give away a trade secret. But for me, what it did was, as a criminal defense attorney, it was hard to get into someone's household and become a household name. But as someone who was celebrating other people, man, that broke down all sorts of barriers. And then, by the way, I was the guy that when the poop hit the fan, hey, Franz is a criminal defense attorney, and he does that. He's a good guy.
Top of mind awareness.
Yeah. So I completely understand,
Well, one of the things that I've always been passionate about is empowering people with knowledge, which is why ever since I, started practicing in Baton Rouge, And people will tell you I always ran late in the office because I always like to talk and really educate people, answer all the questions, and doing spots on the TV, having this radio show, speaking at conferences like at Pennington really was a platform to educate people about things that they ought to know about, whether it in my realm was medicine, but like Betsy with what was going on in politics and in your city. I would always ask her, I'm like, how did you even know that was going on? Because I'm making my business to know. And I'm like, wow, okay, I like that.
And let's point out something for those, again, who may not know you ladies. You have day jobs, right?
We have full-time jobs.
You have full-time jobs. You, Dr. Solar.
Well, I did.
Well, I mean,
during this, I recently
she has
retired.
like 9 full-time jobs. She doesn't even slow down.
Right.
But when we started this, yes, I had a full-time job as an OBGYN, and I was great that this was my day off project, and then
we crammed a lot into Wednesdays, and that's what we did.
You also had something to do with some singer-songwriters, right?
Yeah.
Well, yes. So for about 10 years, I was the entertainment director for the Louisiana Association of Fair and Festivals, so I got to know lots of musicians and bands and folks from around the state and all these great festivals that we have throughout our state that aren't happening, right now. But such great people that it was wonderful to showcase the things that folks might not know about that were in their backyard, like an hour down the road or
affordable, easy. And
then just from knowing the singer-songwriters, then starting the 3rd Street Songwriters Festival, which kind of just Jolie Pearl said, hey, can you put songwriters here every Sunday? And I said, I bet we can. And it self-perpetuated itself. And one of the songwriters kind of just put out a schedule, and that has been self-perpetuated by the songwriters ever since our first festival, which we would have had our 6th festival in March this past year, which was the weekend after COVID. So that got canceled.
So I met Kay when Kay partnered up with Geaux Rouge Productions for the Wing event.
Yes.
The first ever Wingamania at Tin Roof, and you guys provided the entertainment, and it's funny because...
And then we talked about it on our show,
yeah, right. So what's ironic is we had our second Wingamania event right before COVID hit. And it was like, there was that oh poop moment of, man, I just had a food festival... and nobody, as far as I know, knock on wood, nobody has come back to me and said, man, I went to that chicken wing festival. Brian was there. You were at the chicken. Brian was DJing.
Look, we love some good wings, so it's hard to turn down.
So it breaks my heart because people ask me, hey, when are you going to do another mac and cheese fest? I'm like, dude, like, really? Like,
I know.
Yeah, why don't I violate a couple of laws while I'm at it,
We need mac and cheese to come back.
I know.
Well, it is a comfort food, and people have probably been eating plenty of it during COVID and putting on the COVID-15.
So with our remaining, you guys get nobody ever gets an entire half of the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So in our remaining half of the episode, or quarter of the episode, I want to change gears to your new TV concept. Right? Sure. So you guys are kind of a big deal now. Y'all have a TV show, right?
Oh, thank you. We love being a big deal.
I want to talk about, how did that come to pass, and what is it like transitioning from radio to TV? Because I would imagine that the good thing about this is you can record your TV show and then say, here, Talk 107.3, here's what we recorded audio-wise.
That is a beautiful thing that we're able to record one show, and it airs on the Pelican Broadcasting Networks on multiple cable channels, Cox, Allen Cable, Dish.
22 parishes, a million homes.
Throughout the state, and yes, Talk 107.3 picks that up, and we still have our time on Saturdays and Sundays at 11. And then we're also picked up by KWLA in North Louisiana on the radio. But the different thing is that we actually have to do our hair and think about what we're wearing.
Yes,
where
we used to come into if we came into the studio here and Kay was traveling, or if I was out of town, because we've been doing our show 46 weeks out of every year. And so we would just do it by ourselves or invite a co-host to help. But now with it on television, it takes a little more preparation time. We're a little more careful about the way we look. We try to put a little extra effort into it, in case.
Says Betsy.
But we really do. We could do more phone interviews, kind of, when we were on just radio, and we're trying to do everything in person, of course, with social distancing and mask wearing and all of that. But the difference has been the reach. And that has been something that we were very hesitant about, believe it or not, because suddenly when you go into, and my fear was, we lose a certain bit of anonymity and privacy, because when you are on radio, people hear you. But when you're on radio and TV and you're on prime time 4 nights a week, you're in somebody's living room.
Right.
And not everybody is as balanced as we might want them to be.
Understands boundaries.
Yes. So that was kind of my hesitation about it. But Alan and Debbie Traylor with Pelican Broadcasting, Debbie had been reaching out to us for a period of time, and then we followed through on calling her during COVID because we had time to kind of catch up. And Debbie Traylor said, I really want you to talk to my husband about doing a show. We really love your show, and we want you to put it on TV. And that's how it began. And so we're grateful to Pelican Broadcasting and to everybody with Pelican and the partnership with Talk 107.3 FM, because we didn't want to lose the relationship we had here. That was a huge thing.
To me, it's just a different.
Yeah.
Well, they've been loyal to us.
So I will tell you, I have often told people it is fantastic to have a radio show, right? It's cool having a radio show. It's cool. It's cool sounding to say, hey, I got a radio show. And people think one thing about that. But we're living in a world now where what's equally important, and the reason we do the Facebook Live and the videoing, and the reason I take the video and put it on YouTube and all these other things, is the video component is becoming as important. Now, now I am by no means like you guys. I'm not on a television channel or anything, but that is that new way of connecting. But you're absolutely right. There is that awkwardness of, I'm in Calandro's, and a woman comes up to me and says, hey, you're Franz. And I'm like, hey, you, how are you doing?
Yes. You wonder, where did you meet her?
Right.
She just heard your voice.
Yeah. And now that actually does happen too, though, is I will be one of the young ladies that works at La Divina who did not know that I had a radio show. She goes, I've heard you somewhere. Where I heard that voice. Where's that voice from? And I'm like, you know how humble I am, Brian. I was like, well, I've got a radio show. I'm kind of a big deal, but no, you're absolutely right. And look, the cool thing for you guys is your platform, the things you're doing has just exponentially expanded, right? So now there's a different audience from outside of Baton Rouge that can now listen, hear you, and see you. And
the greatest thing I think that we've been able to enjoy is lifting other people up and bringing an awareness for different organizations. Like y'all were bigwigs this time last year for Susan G. Komen.
She was a huge wig.
I know. I forgot my pink wig today. I almost brought it.
I think you were the top fundraiser for that.
I don't want to brag.
Okay.
I don't want to brag, but I was the biggest wig 2 years in a row. No big deal.
And so, but and if you think about it, look at all the different ways that we can just be a conduit. We just bring the message to people and share. There's so many people that would not know about some of the fundraising and some of the other opportunities. Like, I believe tomorrow's the anniversary of the 1,000-year flood. It's the 4th anniversary of the flood. Look at the way that people came together to help other people. We get to highlight people who actually care enough to get out of their house and help other people and raise money for cancer awareness. Mary Bird Perkins, Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center, has been a sponsor of ours for 3 years. They've been wonderful, and they do incredible work in our community. We've gotten to learn, and we've gotten to share it with others.
And we do have to think broader. Because we were very local centric, which we still like to really shine the light on Baton Rouge and the surrounding area.
Well, it's our hometown, so we love it.
Absolutely. But there's a lot of things that are in our state that are outside of here, such as the parks and recreations and different things, and the fairs and festivals, which aren't happening right now, but hopefully will be back. But lots of things outside of our city that people could road trip to, and they just might not know about it. So
staycation,
to bring that to folks' awareness is great.
So it's interesting. We got about 4 minutes left, ladies. It's interesting to me because I always say multiple times during the show, if you have a great idea for a show topic or person, email me at info@geauxrouge.com. And I really mean it, because when you're making a show every week, there are some I'm going to have Rocket Right on, but it gets to the point where it's like, no, I really need your help giving me talent, because I discover it's a treat for me because I get to find out, I never knew this artist.
Well, I think it's great, too, because you don't know everything that's out there either. I mean, we recently had Chef Schonberg, the boozy cake lady, on our show, and I found out about her from my hairdresser. I mean, and so people think that, you might not, everything, or who you want to have on your show. No, we love those suggestions.
So Sweet Baton Rouge opened up in Electric Depot. I was talking to the owner, Meredith, and there was a piece of art that I bought. And I said, did you do this? And she goes, no, this is a local artist, yada, yada, yada. And I said, can you connect us?
Yeah.
And so he's going to be on the show in the near future. And this guy is an artist that just does art with a toothpick. He's an engineer. Wow, he's a petroleum engineer, by the way, and does art. And it's like that good stuff.
Sounds therapeutic.
Right. So, okay.
But you never know when you meet one person who's a business owner like you did, then you meet an artist. Like Amanda Shaw has been on our show. Well, the person who's your publicist is also the publicist for Terrence Osborne, who is a famous artist in New Orleans, who's been on our show. So we would have never met had it not been for that bumping into people that, randomly. And I just think they end up kind of in our path, and we're just happy to have them.
So for those who are listening, I got Kay and Betsy from Rocket Right Show. If people want to connect with you ladies, where should they go? How can they connect?
So they should go to our Facebook page, which is still Rocket Right Radio.
Right.
And you can see the show on there. You can message us your ideas or hit us up if you yourself want to be a guest. And we have a new website because we're trying to branch out and be all global.
We're growing up good.
Yeah, we're growing up. RocketRight.com. And of course, you can catch us on the blog and podcast on Talk 107.3 FM.
And YouTube
on demand.
Under Pelican Broadcasting.
And YouTube under Pelican Broadcasting.
And Cox and Uverse and Google.
I mean, everything. Just you're everywhere.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
But don't look if you see.
And we're glad to be here today. So thanks for having us.
You're of course. So if you see Betsy and Kay in the store, boundaries. I mean, it's so funny to me because I don't. As much as I'm a narcissist and full of myself, I don't take myself that seriously, and I can laugh at me. Like Brian will tell you, I laugh at me all the time.
Yes.
I am those other things, all right, Brian. So it's funny to me because like there are people that get really animated. Like when I do the legal commentary with Brian, people get real like they want to get into an argument with me, and I'm like. Okay, you disagree with me. It's okay.
They want
to
be part of the conversation.
It's all right.
I think it's okay to disagree with someone.
That's another conversation
and that's
for another
a huge conversation.
Yeah.
So, ladies, thank you guys for coming in. You guys keep it up. You've been listening to the Franz Borghardt, host of the Geaux Rouge Show, and Master Control Brian Haldane. He's been chiming in a little bit. Stick around for next week. Well, actually, don't stick around. We're about out of time this week, but we will have another episode next Tuesday. We air on Saturdays at noon, and in fact, this Saturday we'll have a bonus episode at 2 o'clock, so definitely want to tune in for that. From us to you, have a great week, and come back next week. All right, bye Facebook Live.
Bye. Our show is right before yours. Yeah.
It's so much. It's hard.